We have all of your Tesla stock news for the day to get into, and one piece of news that actually came out yesterday that I missed, as well as basically everyone else missed. And I think this is actually having a big effect to Tesla's stock and has been the reason we have fallen over the past couple of days. We are also going to look at some charts, talk about some key levels, and talk about seasonality in our markets, specifically the month of September, because it's quite telling. The first thing we will start with is this news that came out yesterday that I think a lot of people missed. So Tesla suppliers say the car maker expects 2026 or 2027 Mexico production to start. This is from Reforma that is reporting this, posted by Reuters and in Mexico City. So Tesla is eyeing 2026 or 2027 to potentially begin production at a major new factory plan for Mexico, according to a report published in Mexican daily Reforma. So this is actually a Mexican, news outlet. The report cited an anonymous Chinese supplier saying that they and several other Chinese companies may delay plans to launch operations near the still unbuilt Tesla factory set for the northern state of Nuevo Leon after learning of Tesla's slower than expected plans. Quote, 2 or 3 months ago, there was a lot of rush, lots of pressure to look for a location. But 1 month later, they told us to wait, the source told Reforma. Several sources previously told Reuters that Tesla planned to begin production in Mexico in 2025. And Tesla obviously did not respond for a request on a comment. Reforma also reported that a timeline from Danish engineering consultancy Ramboll, taking into account the permitting process, suggested the site would only be ready for construction in 2027. That is far off of what we were previously expecting. Some reports were even suggesting we could start seeing vehicles rolling off the assembly line in the second half of 2024, likely towards the end of the year, but that was about 9 months of construction time. So maybe these permits are going to take a little bit longer. Maybe this is all nonsense, but we haven't got any clarity from Tesla, and I think this could actually be something that is affecting Tesla's stock over the past 3 days or so that we've basically sold off every single day, that I think a lot of people missed recently. What a lot of people have also missed recently is the Google Trends data for Tesla. Every one of Tesla's models, period, the Model 3, the Model Y, the Model S, and the Model X are all exploding in Google search trends. It's no surprise the Model 3 is at the highest searched period ever. You've never seen more searches for the Model 3, but everything is spiking dramatically. This is the 5-year chart. Might be a little hard to see over here, but all of these lines are spiking to kind of extreme levels. The Model 3 is at 100. The Model Y is at 39, the Model S is at 38, and the Model X is at 52. Now, some of this data is obviously not finalized, like you can see these dotted lines in here, but everything is spiking. It's already having that halo effect on Tesla by introducing the new Model 3. And the news that we talked about yesterday, specifically with the Model X in the US, the timeline for deliveries just got pushed out another month. We highlighted that yesterday, that was probably a good sign of really good demand. And if you couple that with the Google Trends data, well, that absolutely looks like the case. And we can, maybe not the last 5 years, let's do the last 12 months, and you come to the same conclusion. The search interest is exploding for everything Tesla. Guangzhou Tini district launches auto subsidy policy to subsidize up to 5,000 won in 2023. Buyers can receive up to 5,000 won in cash grants for Tesla purchases. The terms of the purchase: vehicles over 200,000 won through September 8th until September 30th. Take a look at this chart of Australian EV sales. Tesla is slapping the other competition. It's actually pretty rough. So the Model Y has seen 19,646 deliveries in Australia this year. The Model 3 has seen 13,174. And the third highest is the BYD Auto 3, and that has seen about 8,000. So Tesla is what you would call dominating in Australia. Hilton looks like they are getting ahead of the curve, and they just reached an agreement with Tesla to bring charging stations to 2,000 hotels. These hotels are going to be in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, making Hilton's planned EV charging network the largest of any hospitality company. Up to 20,000 Tesla Universal Wall connectors are going to be installed at the 2,000 hotels. So roughly 10 connectors per hotel. The senior director of charging infrastructure for Tesla said, quote, "A key priority for Tesla charging is installing low-cost, convenient AC charging anywhere electric vehicles are parked for more than an hour or two. To ensure electric vehicle adoption at scale, our joint industry goal must be to vastly improve upon the traditional gasoline vehicle ownership experience, not just meet it. Installing infrastructure at popular destinations like Hilton hotels enables EV owners to charge where they park, meaning no unnecessary refueling stops along their journey. We applaud Hilton for their leadership in the space and look forward to continuing to ramp this critical program with other industry leaders." So I actually really like this news, and I like what she has to say here, that you really have to do better than traditional kind of gas stations. You have to be a little bit more convenient. There has to be at least the same degree of conveniency, if not more conveniency, to get to that mass scale EV adoption. Meaning you just need to see chargers at restaurants, hotels, other different areas. Honda and Acura have folded finally, and they announced today that they have reached an agreement with Tesla to adopt Tesla's North American charging standard for the charging port of its EV models that will go on sale in North America starting from 2025. Tesla has added blind spot indicators in Model 3 refresh. This is something that comes pretty standard in other vehicles, and before, Tesla had this monitoring system in the dash, and it looks like there is now a, what you can see right here, blind spot camera that appears on the main display when your turn signal is activated. So a specific camera just for this. It says the blind spot indicator is a red light located in the A-pillar speaker housing, which, as you can see in the video below, illuminates when a vehicle passes by. It appears at around 440, but should start at that point. There are some instances when it doesn't light up, but that is to be expected when the vehicles are traveling at a high rate of speed in the opposite direction and not sitting in the blind spot. So it looks like might have an actual kind of light indicator over here, which is a good thing. I wouldn't say it's like a great thing, but it's something that's pretty standard in other vehicles, so I think Tesla should also have it as well. Polestar has unveiled this single-seat electric supercar concept called Synergy. I actually like kind of the style of this quite a bit. I think it's very much kind of like the Cybertruck, like very futuristic looking, but it's a one-seater. So that's not ideal. You definitely want at least 2 seats, but these are concept cars. And what a lot of people point out, concept cars rarely ever make it to mass market. GM offers 10% wage increases, a $5,500 ratification bonus to UAW as the strike looms. GM's latest offer still falls short of the union's demands. The UAW strike against all 3 Detroit automakers could start next week. The wage increase for most of GM's roughly 46,000 UAW represented workers would be 10%, while newer employees would be eligible for up to a 56% increase in wages over the 4 years of that deal. The company announced Thursday after meeting with union leaders and negotiators. The proposed contract also includes 2 additional 3% lump sum payments, resulting in a total increase of 16%. $5,500 ratification bonus, $6,000 one-time inflation recognition payment, and $5,000 in inflation protection bonuses over the life of the agreement. In progression, employees are eligible. It's unclear if the UAW is going to accept this contract from GM, but one thing we do know is the larger the incentive needs to be, the higher the pay increase, the bigger the bonuses, makes it that much harder to compete with Tesla. EVs cost a lot of money to make, and you don't make money on them until you are at a scalable level. I mean, you have to be at 100,000 EVs roughly to be profitable, if not more than that. It's going to be a very long time before Ford and GM, Stellantis, or anyone else for that matter, legacy OEMs, are profitable on electric vehicles. You add these UAW contracts in there, and it gets even harder to turn a profit. Ford has unveiled the 2024 Mustang Mach-E Rally. They raised and tuned the Magni ride suspension, Oxford White 19 alloy wheels, rear spoiler, and underbody shielding. Sawyer Merritt says, why did they make this video? It's kind of a strange video as a promotion for the Mach-E. But this will start at $65,000. That's $10,500 more than the Model Y Performance. And the Mach-E only qualifies for a $3,750 EV tax credit. That's because quite a few of the parts are not built here in the US. Tesla stock at the time of recording this video is up about 0.25%, trading at $252.44 per share. And your major resistance level to the upside continues to be that 50-day moving average. That is at $256.50 per share. If you can get a break above that, and really around 265 you get a break above that, then you start to make your way back into the 270s, 280s, or even over $300 per share. If for whatever reason the seasonality of September does come back to haunt us, well, that's where you could be in for some decent downside from here. Your next support level is 240, and you're getting a lot of buyers coming in around this zone. Really as low as even 242, 243. A lot of people are stepping in around this 240 level. If you break under this for whatever reason, you then fall to the 100-day moving average. And that's where you're going to find a lot of buyers as well, around $227.67 per share. It's really if you fall under the 100-day moving average that you start to open the door up for bigger downside, like we just recently seen. Tesla stock hit a low of $212. You could potentially fall as low as $200 if you break under that 100-day moving average. Last time, it was support. We'll see if September seasonality does come back to wreak havoc later in the month of September. September historically is the worst month out of the year for stocks, and it seems like bad things tend to happen in September. 9/11, that was not great for stocks. That was not great for the U.S. itself. Well, Lehman Brothers in 2009. Taper tantrum in 2014 in September. There's so many different things that always happen in September that tends to, for whatever reason, happen in September. And it's actually been named the September effect. It's a supposed market anomaly whereby stock market returns are relatively weak during the month of September. This is considered an anomaly since it violates the assumption of market efficiency. Some consider the observed weakness in September to be attributable to seasonal behavior bias as investors make portfolio changes to cash in at summer's end. While there may be some statistical evidence for the September effect, this will depend on what time period you look at. Most economists and market professionals discount the existence of the September effect. What's actually more interesting about the September effect is the first 2 weeks of September tend to be pretty good. They tend to be okay. Actually, the second week of September, you tend to see an increase, which would be next week. So be wary of that. Typically, even in a bad September, the second week tends to be good. The third week, not so much. And the fourth week tends to be very bad. What this usually revolves around is the quad witching date, which is September 15th. So after September 15th, that's where historically, whatever day that quad witching day falls on, this year it's September 15th, you tend to get a lot of weakness in the markets. So if seasonality does start to play a role, then we could see more weakness for the markets. So far, you have actually seen a pretty rough start to September. You fall in 0.5% September 5th, and yesterday you did fall 0.67% on the S&P. So far, not so great. Tesla's option activity today is actually quite bullish. You have seen 926 orders totaling $218 million with a positive order value of 64%. 64% is higher than the 1 week average for Tesla, which is 63%. So today is a lot more bullish than bearish. If you had a $100 bill, $64 of that $100 bill went into bullish options today. $46 of that, or $36 of that $100 bill went into bearish options today. So you're quite skewed towards bullish positioning today. 2-year Treasury yields are dropping about 7 basis points today, so quite a big move down for really no news. We are going to get some Fed speakers that will be coming on here very shortly and extending into after hours trading. And if they say anything that the markets are not really expecting them to say, that could have an effect on the markets coming tomorrow. 10-year Treasury yields are down about 2.5 basis points today as well. The 2 and the 10-year yield curve is starting to uninvert even more. Back here on July 3rd, this was inverted 1.08%. Today it's only inverted 0.71%. The inversion of the yield curve, so when the yield curve, this blue line, goes under the black line, that's not when the pain usually happens. It's actually during the uninversion is where markets get very turbulent and you can expect some downside. The 10-year and the 3-month yield curve inversion is starting to uninvert even more today. Now you're at the almost the most uninverted level that you have been at in quite a while. The steep of this, essentially the trough of this inversion was at 1.88% inverted. Now you are only inverted 1.25%. So both yield curves that people follow closely are starting to uninvert, starting to normalize. This could be a bad sign for especially the second half of September, when seasonally, after quad witching, tends to be very, very weak. every time these yield curves have been inverted, you have seen a recession. So I think right now it's very important that you guys keep some dry powder on the sideline, potentially hedge out your portfolios as well. If you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, I send out all of my trade alerts. Come hedge out your portfolio, so in theory, if the markets do crash and Tesla stock crashes, you can make some money on that downside, invest those profits back into shares at much lower prices. Basically playing both sides. Now, it's hard to do this perfectly, but even if you have to do it right, that's better than doing nothing and watching your portfolio crash in front of your eyes. Link down below in the description of this video if you would like to come join that. We will welcome you with open arms. That is going to do it for this video. That is all of your Tesla stock news and market news that you need to know. Again, as far as economic data, it's very slow right now. Next week is when you're going to get CPI. You're going to get some final revisions on a lot of key numbers the markets pay attention to. So next week is going to be a lot more important than this week. And historically speaking, next week tends to be very bullish, but we do have the CPI report coming out next week, so you might get a little bit of worriness, kind of shaky activity in the markets, maybe this week, heading into that CPI report next week, which I believe is on Tuesday. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're listening to my voice on the way out. My name is Michael Tyler. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.